racing world of motorsport. From Formula 3 to Formula Ford, from rallying to rallycross, from supercars to superbikes, we've got an action-packed show in store as we highlight the moments the drivers and riders would rather forget. The action is thrilling, sometimes frightening, but more often than not will bring a smile to your face. And smiling is made easier by the knowledge that all of the people featured in our video escaped without serious injuries. In fact, some walked away without as much as a scratch. From the host of horrific-looking accidents you're about to witness on Motor Mayhem. We start in the world of Formula 3. Look for the wave from the driver of the yellow car in the centre of the picture. He'll be grateful he's stalled when he sees the pandemonium to come at the second corner of this race at Truxton. It all looked plain sailing until one driver went for the scenic route and the others just had to follow.
Someone's lost it! A multiple pile-up at 100 miles an hour!
He's not too clear what happened. And nor is he. And that signaled the end of the race for these bewildered souls. But if you want your race to come to an even more spectacular end, why not try this manoeuvre?
Just past Charles Rickett, who goes off! Rickett goes off, he just misses Gary Thomas, he hits brakes in it, both of them into the tar wall.
He evidently found a reverse gear he never knew existed. John Astubin at Snetterton, and his new signature tune is One Man Went to Mow. Now for a bad day in the life of Philippe Adams at Brands Hatch. That's Sweden's Rickard Riddell giving him a shunt at Druids. A quick pirouette, and he's on his merry way again. But not for long. And when things surely can't get any worse, they surely do. Damon Hill breezes into a block, but he's okay, it's polystyrene. And who knows what Martin Donnelly was trying to achieve here against this back marker. But if you will shove your nose where it's not wanted... Now, if drivers insist on skidding, it's better to do it like this than Mika Hakkinen doing it like this. Thankfully, he walked away from the wreckage. It's that man, Rickard Riddell, getting sidetracked again here. But when Manu does likewise at Silverstone, he takes Ratzenberger with him for company. The wet is always a problem. See what I mean? It certainly proved the undoing of these two. It gave one of them a real headache. That's one way of dealing with the opposition, but then there's always the woodcut corner sandwich as an alternative. The SO British Touring Car Championship, and the kind of cars you and I can relate to. That's if you discount the huge difference in horsepower between these and the one you've got parked outside. Lawrence Bristow spins off before we've really got underway. Rob Gravitt and Bill Dowsett are set to tangle at Truxton.
Right on the apex, and they hit each other! Dowsett, oh my goodness!
And this is Dowsett's very own view of the incident. How tiresome. Well, the car may be out of it, but Gravitt's still moving nicely. This is a Harvey Smith collision. No, not the show jumper. Tim Harvey is in the blue car, and Mike Smith's in the red one. And more of Mike later. Andy Rouse shows his disgust when he almost gets clipped from the side. And perhaps that close shave is still on his mind as he takes this involuntary breather.
And he's off! Andy Rouse goes off! Straight into the tar wall!
It looks no better from this angle.
And again, turn right. Head on! Lofted on the grass, no friction there, straight into the tar wall.
Yes, we can still see you, Andy. Drive assured are the words on the side of Mike O'Brien's car. You could fool me. Rob Gravitt's a casualty of a skid pan of a circuit at Silverstone. Bristow, too, finds cornering in the wet to be decidedly tricky, treacherous and troublesome. That view and the 100 miles an hour windscreen wipers might give you some indication why. Now watch out for TV celebrity Mike Smith trying to go round the bend when his car simply insists on going straight.
And he's going off! Mike Smith's going off! Oh, straight into the tar barrier! That looks a very nasty one indeed. The rear bumper's ripped off, the front of the car looks as though it's snowed in, but the door moves.
And here comes that single-minded car again.
Full right lock and Mike Smith plows straight on into the tar wall at about 90 miles an hour. Nearly took our cameraman with him too. You saw it, didn't you?
Yes, I'm afraid we did, Smitty. Mind you, we started to lose sight of things just about here. Jerry Marnie's got a smoking dashboard. The marshals have to deal with a smoking engine. And we've got a smoke-covered camera. But we can see clearly now for the saloon cars. Two Metros have a little contretemps, and one of them decides to get back on track by taking the scenic route.
And Lewis goes on, but Leslie has kept it going. That was an incredible bit of driving by Scotsman David Leslie, and Chris Lewis bumps and claws his way across the infield and rejoins the track.
Now the great escape. That driver's door's been sticking for weeks. I should have had it seen to. I really should. Everyone appears to find this corner to their liking, but Mike Smith's got one of those stubborn no-turning cars again. That's car business, Mike. This is a lesson in how to avoid accidents. Left hand down. And again, well done. Somebody here could do with taking a few of those lessons. Watch the driver of the blue car. He's got crash written all over him. And just when I thought he was about to prove me wrong, off he goes. Once upon a time, sports car racing used to look like this. That was then, but this is now. This is an example of motorsport at its most terrifying. A terrible high-speed pile-up, a horrific collision, but mercifully no injuries. Although looking at the wreckage and at this replay, it's a miraculous escape. Racing also has its moments.
Now, Sven Morgan is going through and taking the inside line as they come out of club, down into club. On the left hand, Morgan. Walker dressed very wide. And then he hits Richard Walker. Walker, oh my my goodness, the whole of the back axle knocked out of it. The race is going to be stopped. George Allen, you saw spin, and that has been a very, very expensive trip for Richard Walker. Half a lap completed for the Englishman. There is Allen losing it, and he smites Richard Walker's Kenworth right in the middle. Denhart dives through. Walker hits the barrier on the left, knocks the whole of the rest of the rear of the truck off. Allen goes into the barrier, and you can see that bouncing axle, and what an absolute...
It only goes to prove the old adage, the bigger they come, the harder they fall. Now it's the green light for some Formula Ford action, and an incredible crash involving a driver who's since made his name in Formula One, Belgium's Bertrand Gachot. Is out, so too is Gachot, and the wave says I'm fine. This pile-up at Brands Hatch resembles the traffic jams on the M25. And this is Monsieur Gachot again, turning from motor racing to fencing. The Belgian is a trendsetter all of a sudden. A few more fancy go with that fencing lark. We are not amused. But he wouldn't mind a go. Gets 5.9 for technical merit for his double axle, but slightly less for artistic impression. And a great deal more for bravery as he walks away. But where's the rest of Ross Chiverley's car gone? Perhaps it's behind those tyres. Actually, one of the wheels is on the circuit, and Alan Kalf is unlucky enough to hit it and take a starring role. A little nudge from behind is all that's needed to send number 21 into the dirt and out of the race at the Formula Ford Festival. How many other ways can there be of ending up in the crash barrier? Well, there's one. And there's another. Both parties scramble to safety. This is a less extravagant way of doing it, and so's that. But the latter clearly meets with Jason Yeoman's disapproval, unless he's simply offering Jonathan Kane a hand out of his car. If Kane insists on taking the shortcut across the grass, the least he could do is give way to Yeoman before rejoining the race. Oh well, that's Formula Ford for you.
For 70 laps of Zolder.
Formula One. Speed, glamour, money, danger, and sometimes an absolute shambles.
And already there's trouble. Lauda has hit the Armco. Hunt is out of the race. Pironi right up to Paye's car, and X hits Fittipaldi. With a bemused James Hunt walks across the road. Off to the right goes Lauda. Across the grid goes James Hunt. There is Pironi in the Tyrrell at the back, and he's just about to climb, and he does. His teammate's car, Patrick Depailler. 197 miles an hour over this sand-strewn circuit. And it's a great start.
Travelling at speeds of up to 200 miles an hour, these guys don't know the meaning of the word fear, which is just as well, really.
Behind his team leader, Lafitte and Alicia Vatra in third position, and Niki Lauda in fourth place as they go up to Gerlach. Andretti, Peterson and Pironi's lost it, and Petresi in the arrows, and they spin out into the centre of the circuit. Two stricken cars, and Pironi's car's lost a wheel.
Here, Patrick Depailler forgets to turn his steering wheel, proving they're mortals after all. Mario Andretti demonstrates the folly of overtaking at a bend. I think he needs to look at his highway code.
And Andretti's lost it! Andretti's out of the race already! His Lotus 79 springs along the Armco, and Mario Andretti, the man who leads the World Championship, has just seen 9 points disappear.
And it looks as if Didier Pironi could do with a few lessons himself. Maybe skating lessons.
60 degrees, there is Lauda coming up, and Pironi goes right across his path. And a phenomenal avoidance from Niki Lauda, and James Hunt is going to take Pironi, who is wildly oscillating in the Elf Tyrrell.
The British Grand Prix, Brands Hatch 1973. South African Jody Scheckter loses control on the straight, and we witness some of the most shocking scenes of mayhem on a racing circuit. These pictures show us just how great are the risks Formula One drivers take every time they get into a car. Miraculously, no one was killed or seriously injured amidst scenes resembling a battlefield. And that's the last of the excitement served up for now in the frenzied world of the four-wheeled races. Take a bow, those equally daring men on their two-wheeled machines. And in the ACU British Motorcycle Championship, the first taste of what a precarious trade these guys are in. Alan Batts in the bright green does well to stay upright here, but he must have his namesakes in the belfry because he appears not only to have forgotten where the track is, but he's forgotten where his brakes are as well. Hang on in there, Alan. Phil Grantham shows nasty tumbles are often the order of the day in the high-speed, high-power world of motorcycle racing. Frank Thomas proves they're built of sterner stuff than most and can walk away unharmed. Even from the kind of pile-up seen in this 125cc race at Mallory Park. In fact, they can't wait to get up for more. At the same corner in a 750cc event, Steve Chambers comes up with a novel dismount. That was the easy bit. Getting back on proved somewhat trickier. Still at Mallory Park, and if there's one thing every rider should know, you can't win anything unless you take your bike with you. because Phil Worley found it. Now that's what I call playing safe. He won't win anything on that, though. Rob McIlney has enjoyed many successes on two wheels, but even the best come a cropper sometimes. Bet that ruined the seat of his pants. From two wheels to three, and sidecar racing. Two men to one machine. Equally great speeds, tight cornering, and yes, a smattering of crashes. How's that for starters? And if this isn't proof that you must have a screw loose to race sidecars, I don't know what is. Against the odds, these men escaped serious injury. Now here's sidecar racing at its best. Drivers in control, passengers hanging out of the side as they take the bend in a cool and confident manner. Textbook stuff. Unfortunately, they appear to have mislaid their copy. Yeah, it's time to lie back and think of England, or more to the point, think about where it all went wrong. It's a case of two's company and three's a crowd, with the third man left of picture being dispatched to the square leg boundary. It later transpired only his pride was hurt. When you've got so many sidecars tearing around a circuit like Mallory Park at breakneck speeds, there's nothing more certain than some of them being diverted to pastures new. Ron Haslam fancies a similar diversion at Brands Hatch. Ex-World 500cc champion Barry Sheen is among the pace-setting trio who bail out of this race. Mr. Sheen polished off by the opposition. And this is a certain Mr. Casanova. He caresses the ground, he kisses the grass, and in true Casanova style, ends up lying down. Back now to Mallory Park, and Brian Morrison gets a bad case of the wobbles. It's too late for Jamie Whittam to take evasive action. Look out for the skidding bike here. Morrison was lucky to escape unharmed, but so too was the marshal. The straight bike misses him by a fraction. And don't blink or you'll miss the pace-setting Jeremy McWilliams coming unstuck in a 400cc race. Still with the 400s, still at Cadwell Park, and still Jamie Whittam's down on his luck. Whittam needs to get rid of any pent-up frustration. He should look no further than this rider to show him how it's done. I'll feel better for that. James Hardy takes it a stage further. Ooh, temper, temper. This rider puts his foot down as he senses all is not well, but that's not going to save him. Bottoms up. Now, who was the idiot who claimed fortune favoured the brave? Try telling that to them. Zipping down the straight is all well and good, but more subtlety on the corners, please. Ian Locker picks up the pieces. And he gets back on his push bike. 600cc action, and Rodney Knapp picks an unfortunate time to live up to his name and take 40 winks. He'll ditch the bike. Now, just what happened there? Oh, here's Ron Haslam again, with as graceful a slide as you'll ever see. In contrast, Wolsey Coulter goes for an ungainly tumble. Blue sky, brilliant sunshine, so why not take a bowl on the grass? Yes, he's in there somewhere. Nope, I can't spot him. Ah, there he is. He'll return to fight another day. Don't they always? It's all systems go for those speed merchants on the water. It's time for powerboats and explosive action. A cool 250 grand will buy one of these, and here are a few novel ways of how to throw that money swiftly down the drain. Personally, I can think of easier ways. It's the Adriatic Grand Prix, and John Jones is T-boned by Peter Eriksson. Peter Stuyvesant's powerboats have fallen in line with their cigarette packets. They carry health warnings. Here's Will Seabold in the thick of it, taking a corner a little too tightly. 300 brake horsepower boats cornering at speeds of more than 90 miles an hour in Bristol, the Monaco of the powerboat circuit. It's a hazardous task which Gunther Schreier finds just too tricky by half. Schreier was thrown out of his boat, but was unharmed. His boat? Well, that was a somewhat different story. Jean Thibodeau found that he was also in need of a lift after that crash, and so was his boat. Bill Ormanston continues the trend of leaving one's boat to go splashing about in the water, while our friend John Jones comes unstuck in Singapore. Likewise, Jose Sosteros wrecks his boat in St. Louis. Neil Hall loses his way in the Amsterdam Grand Prix. And Peter Lindenberg, not to be outdone, suffers a similar fate at Bristol. His style marks are more impressive, however. Thinks Neil Hall's new craze, the flip, is worth trying. And why wait until late in the race? Okay then, Mick. Chuck Mackay takes the biscuit for this one, though. He's almost able to flip, land the boat, and carry on. It's just that back end landing too heavily which leads to his comeuppance. It's engines like these which put the power into powerboats, which can lead to such spectacular somersaults. Steve Curtin loses his way at Bristol. Always a difficult and potentially dangerous circuit. Dare we say, it's curtains for Steve. Chris Bush follows too close in Mike Seaborn's wake and pays the penalty. Hydroplanes. Smaller, but equally hair-raising. They're so hair-raising, in fact, that these two decide to take their leave and head for dry dock. They'd have had much more fun if they'd stayed on the water. Powerboat racing can be the most unpredictable of sports, as Dave Giggins finds out the hard way. What went wrong then, Dave? Dublin, 1988, and Michael Werner's boat horrifically explodes out of the water at 90 miles per hour. Thornton's also intent on an early bath. Mike Capolini's boat hits a big swell and disaster ensues. Miraculously, the Italian is left unscathed. It's that man Seabold again, well into the lead at Bristol, when for no apparent reason, from a different angle we can see just how terrifying this sport can be. Happily for Mike, like all the heroes we've seen on water, he lives to fight another day. This guy could sue the man from QuickFit. So who says you can't get quicker than one of their fitters? We're off into the world of American motorsport. They certainly don't come much quicker than these men. The inside view shows us how precarious an occupation it can be on the American circuits. Could it be that the steering wheel is on the wrong side? Then again, judging by these wacky racers, they don't appear to have much of a clue what to do with the steering wheel anyway. If you want immediate repairs, drive into the pits with your bonnet up. Our friend in number 40 should have changed to non-slip tyres while he was at it. A smooth passage for our leader, while behind him, all hell is let loose. let's see what the trackside camera missed. More skidding from the man in black. Excuse me, have you lost a wheel? I believe so. If you've got an onboard camera, why not provide the viewers with some added entertainment? Give the car in front a shunt, but then again, but the next move appears to have been censored. These incidents are for your eyes only. Out to survey the wreckage. Mr. Angry, eat your heart out. And he's turned round to see how those behind him are doing. If you're going to grind to a halt, there's nothing more consoling than to take 4 others with you. Learners, these Americans. He's at it too. This time, some neat maneuvering averts an impromptu traffic jam on the bank. Hope they drive more carefully on their roads. Same bank. No crashes, no pile-ups, no bonnet. A little nudge in Minnesota takes the speedster off the track. That's the end of his race. And that also signals the end of our American adventure. Is always one of the most thrilling of motorsports, as we'll see in this next batch of action. Phil Buckley, first of all, strives to perfect the art of beating rush hour traffic by driving on his side. This bump is a gentle reminder that you don't get anywhere trying to take shortcuts. Stay on the straight and narrow. If you go down to the woods today, you'll sure get a big surprise. Like a car landing on your head. On the tough terrain served up in rallies, things are not always going to go smoothly. So it's comforting to know you can rely on a little help from your friends. These guys are committed, or should be. There's no holding them back, whatever happens.
Malcolm Wilson, who usually builds his own cars, but now has it done for him, and see how he's trying. And nearly that's it. And Malcolm Wilson and his co-driver are strapped very firmly into that motor car. They have shoulder straps, they have crutch straps, they have roll bars. You can see that there is no deformation of the roof. They should be perfectly all right inside that motor car. Perhaps, no doubt, a little shaken and very, very sorry, because Malcolm will not have liked doing that in front of an audience of this magnitude. But it's a safe bet. Indeed, you can see his head there. He started the car. Incredible. After totally upending it, Malcolm Wilson has got the Ford going again, and away he goes. He's determined to finish the run. A round of well-deserved applause from the spectators.
Here's another case in point. And here's another willing helper. He might need a crane, though. And here's another one to follow that last-ditch effort. At such high speeds, it only takes one false move for things to go terribly wrong. Wet weather is also the last thing a driver needs. It causes him to go hedge hopping. And it's not much fun for the cameraman either. Now, you would have thought somebody would have warned him about that turn by now. But if you think the rain is hazardous, well, how would you fancy driving in this? Yes, somewhere out there a car is rolling to a halt. Ah, that's better. A clean windscreen. Shame about this stupid steering wheel. Dry as a bone here. So what's his excuse? Back into the wet, and back to that corner, and that hedge. At last the message gets through to slow down. But it was too late for our friends in the Peugeot. Does he know there's a bull in the next field? Again, we get an insider's view. All looks pretty harmless, but how quickly things can turn. Well, home video was always a rich source of entertainment, even before Jeremy Beadle. Take this excursion into the woods, for example. And who says lightning can't strike twice? A scrapyard has since opened there. And the scrapyard is certainly the best place for this vehicle after another spectacular crash. We'll ditch this one belonging to Finn Marco Allen while we're at it. From rallying to rallycross, more minor catastrophes on the dirt and tarmac of some of Britain's most famous circuits, with drivers and cars both old and new. One little mini driven by Keith Ripp.
Which he does not do. Keith Ripp in real trouble. The car flies apart. Off comes the fiberglass roof and the doors, and Keith Ripp, strapped in the car, looks to be perfectly all right. And that is a demonstration of how the wrong line at that corner can cause real trouble. And thankfully and mercifully, Keith Ripp is perfectly all right.
Which is more than can be said for his car. seen ample evidence of the problems water can cause in motorsport, but there's never any around when you most need it, like when Franz Wurtz's car catches fire. The marshal tries to warn him. Wurtz obviously thought the smoke couldn't possibly be coming from his car. A lot of chiefs and not too many Indians trying to put that one out. It works though. This track ain't big enough for the boat cross.
Now, that's it, bang, bang, and off, that's it, John Welch's race is over, oh dear.
There was only ever going to be one winner of that particular confrontation. Move on the inside at Brands to take the lead, and a silly move on the outside to lose it. Chaos reigns on the tightest of bends. One of the pace setters gets it wrong and takes several others with him. Goes way off course. But why?
Well, something broke.
A bit too technical for me, Tiff.
Wow, look at that! An absolutely major roll. It's Anders Norstedt's Saab.
So there we have it, the rough and tumble of the motorsport world. 90% of the time these guys get it right. But when it goes ever so slightly wrong, well, they allow us to share it with you.